Hey, what's going on, everybody? Good afternoon. Can see we're kind of later on in the afternoon, but just wanted to hop on and share our trade for the day. And this is all we had to do, keeping it simple, capture a nice chunk of change, and call it a morning, especially on a Monday. If we take a look, kind of what led into this, right? What's the understanding? We had spoken about yesterday how we wanted to see basically this level here. So these two levels are daily volume imbalances, and then this is a daily fair value gap. So we said we want to see if price wants to reach into this, right? Once we reach into this, basically we had to wait and see what price action did to give us a just better understanding of what we could look for. So we come into it, we close below it, we retrace into the high of it, and then we actually break lower, clearing out a low here. So on a higher time frame, this is simply going to look like a wick into this, and then we move away, right? We can show you that just so you have a better understanding. So if I go to a 4 hour, as we mentioned, we close below it first, we then wick into it, closing back below consequent encroachment, and then we get a pretty aggressive move lower, right? This move lower you'll see was actually to return into a former inefficiency, so an older daily fair value gap, as well as just kind of higher time frame inefficiencies inside of here. So that's kind of what we're keying off of as we work onto the lower time frame. So on a 15-minute, kind of same idea. Right, we close below, we were then wick into the high of it, into an inefficiency, and then we break lower, clearing out sell side. So once we saw this extended move lower, we kind of expected the retracement into the daily volume imbalance. That's these two levels here. And that's what you'll see the longs are basically keying off of. So now as we go back to that 1 minute, right, what led us into that whole idea was we created this low here. So this is the low of the leg. You notice that we actually now clear that short-term low. So we have a short-term low cleared, and then we displace through the high here with that fair value gap. So the displacement is pretty key. And then it's also paired with our 830 level, right? So we like the 830 level, that's this dashed line. Along with that 830 level, we've cleared liquidity, and then we've created that bullish change in structure. And that right there is the YouTube model, right? Just using a different PD rate in the form of the 830. If we also look at NQ, so just continuing to add confluence, notice how, right, this low here in ES is a lower low than these equal lows. Whereas in NQ, right, that same low here is actually met by a lower low. So there's our SMT we're looking for. NQ creating the same structure, however, short-term low clear displacement through a high paired with the 830, leaving a PD array. So both of the markets were basically screaming to look for longs. That is why we were focused more on the long side of the market. So we'll get back to ES, that's what we were focused on. And there's plenty of opportunities to enter within here. You'll see that we took pretty much the low-hanging fruit entry. I wanted to wait for the high-impact news. But if you were going in before high-impact news, look how many opportunities it gave you, right? You can use 830 paired with the OB, right? There's one. We then displace away, leaving behind new discounts, right? So you could have waited for a retracement into the fair value gap. And let's say that you're nervous here. As we often speak of, you can wait for confirmation. We trade into the fair value gap. We then close back above it, right? Notice how we displace back above this original bullish fair value gap. That right there becomes another entry. So you can wait for the retracement because now we have confirmed we want to hold that, and we've put in a new low to aim for the same target that we had up here. Right, say you miss this entry, we then displace away. Well, you can simply use the down close candle, right? Our mitigation block. So we can easily follow price all the way through here as we continue to print bullishly. And for us, right, after seeing all of this basically confirmation that we want to hold discounts, that's why we were so confident to enter here. We should have caught that swing low. We end up low ticking this candle. You know how I like to get them swing lows, but it's all right. We'll take that there. We did get the swing high exit, so we're content with that. But basically this entry is simply looking for the continuation of bullish order flow. Right, as we mentioned, all the way back here, that's when we establish it. Short-term low cleared, displacement through buy side, SMT with NQ above the 830 level. Already at this point, we're looking for bullishness. Price trades into the 830 level, right? Fails to get underneath it. Look at the bodies. Hard to argue that, right? Wicket, we try once, immediately snap back above, and the bodies tell the story. We hold that. We displace away. And right away, as we move away from the 830, immediately discounts start getting respected now. So discount here holds us. Huge displacement through a short-term high, right? As we close above it, that right there is the market structure shift. We then get false retracement to create engineer liquidity. We then clear that liquidity, returning into now this discount, right? It's also the original bullish fair value gap. So easy to follow what price is doing here. Right, we hold that fair value gap. We then displace again with this candle, as we said, allowing another entry as we retrace into the original fair value gap. We then displace again, closing above a high here and here, right? Closing above a high here as well. So that's really important. Notice that every time we go through a high, we're closing above it. All right, closing above the high. Same thing here, closing above the high. So that's just what we like to see to kind of confirm that we're going to be on sides. Right, we want to see price closing through basically the highs, and notice how it's wicking the discounts. We like that, right? Wicking into the discount, wicking into the discount. So those are kind of the telltale signs that we look for to trust a setup like this. And no, we're not chasing, right? People think that you may be chasing because price has already moved away. We're simply following order flow, right? Chasing is trying to buy out on a displacement candle here. We're simply waiting for a retracement into a discount, and then price will continue. All right, so at this point, we hit our daily volume imbalance. Look at that reaction we get there, beautiful. And we're not worried about this, right? Our target becomes that daily fair value gap, right? You'll notice that we had relative equal highs. That's why we're aiming for that. So relative equal highs sitting just underneath a daily area that's gonna basically act as a magnet, consequent encroachment of a daily fair value gap. So when we see these two things together, that's why we like to aim for that target. We're honestly expecting hesitation here at this daily volume imbalance, because if we want to enter on a retracement entry, right, price is going to have to go down to go up. So this is where we would expect a premium to hold us in the short term. That's what we get. Engineering buy side as well. So we like to create a little short-term high. Just gives us added confirmation. We could look for that to be a target. So now we have a short-term high, more buy side. We then get that retracement that we're looking for. Entering on, as we said, low tick of this candle. This candle would have been nice, but either way, we get in right on that fair value gap. We're also using this fair value gap because why? It's an old high, and right, we have our down close candles. So the highest probability entries are going to have multiple areas of support, right? Multiple discount arrays, and that's what we're getting here. So we're fully confident that this holds us. Just going in nice and easy, 0.25%. We get the long here, right on that low, and then we exit right at that buy side. And you'll see that, right, if we look at the entry again, we only went in with one contract. And that's all you need. If I zoom out like this, you're like, oh, one contract, not much. You have to understand, what is this move actually? Right, so from our entry here to our exit, that's 50 handles, fellas. Right, that's a 50 handle move. So it may look small as far as the actual range. We've been in a large range, which is nice. But that's why we like these large ranges. Because a setup like this that is very simple and has a clear-cut target ends up being, in reality, a huge move, right? 50 handles, as we mentioned. So when the market's moving like this and it's volatile and it has large ranges, that's just what we like to see. And we go in accordingly, right, with the proper risk. You don't need much to make much. So this is right here a bread and butter trade. That's what we like to look for. We're in, right? We were only in this trade for 2 minutes. We get a slight retracement and then boom, price sprints right to our exit. These are the trades we love, and that's why we went ahead and called it a day, right? We catch that swing high exit, as we said, right on that buy side target. And now at this point, prices really just continue to meander around that daily fair value gap. That's why we're not trying to push in here now, right? We retraced into the daily fair value gap. That was our target. Once our target's hit, especially when it's a daily level like this, we can expect that consolidation to occur. All right, just trying to move this here. But yeah, we can expect that consolidation to occur. So there's no need to add extra risk. So yeah, I figured we'd just make a little video kind of talking over the trade recap. Went a little more in depth than I thought, but right, just really wanted to point out because today was a pretty nice day as far as order flow and trusting setups and simply following these setups into our target. So I hope you guys found that one helpful. Hope you've been doing well. Until next time, take care, everybody.